Kev, thank you so much for the time. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, my brother. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's been really interesting to get to learn a little bit about your story in preparation for this conversation as somebody who has enjoyed your comedic stylings on social media. And suffice to say, I was a little bit surprised. You have not been at this stand-up game long, so kudos to you on being good enough at the craft to where you are headlining at Cap City Comedy Club this weekend.
Oh, thank you, my brother. Yeah, man, it's been a really dope journey. I initially I didn't think I'd be good at it either, but I'm lucky enough to find something that I'm talented at and I love. So I'm very grateful.
So you were pushed into stand up after gaining widespread popularity through a lot of hard work on social media by Joe Coy, of all people, somebody that I've had the pleasure of speaking with in the past. Just what was that moment like when Joy invites you to a show and tells you, hey, you need to take a look at the stand up comedy thing? I think you'd be pretty good at it.
Yeah, initially, man, I was petrified. He had looked at me. He was like, "Look," he's like, you doing stand up?" And I was like, "No." I said, "I'm working on it," which I really wasn't. And he was like, "Look, man, don't be scared. Trust me, you'd be a natural at this." And I took the leap, and my agent at the time got a show set up in New York, and I went up there and I did 45 minutes my first time, and it was fantastic, man. I felt great, and I was able to leave my job that I had had for years. And I took a chance on myself, and luckily, thus far, it's worked out. So I'm very grateful.
You did 45 minutes the very first time you got up on
Yeah,
stage.
yeah. But I had prepared for a while.
Yeah.
I'm a preparer, so I had run through that set every day for 6 months. So when I went up there, it was pretty much muscle memory at that point. But yeah, it was 45 minutes, and I'm sure I'd watch it now and vomit, but at the time, it felt great.
How long ago was this?
This was like two years ago.
2 years ago now. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, the journey since then, I mean, you hear comedians talk about things. They're finding microphones and stages wherever they can to get up in front of crowds, both big and small. Has that been your journey too? I mean, you finding Oklahoma open mics in New York City and trying to just get that stage time wherever you can to continue to get better at the craft?
Yeah, I mean, reps is obviously super important. I've gotten so much better over the years, but realistically, I'm doing stand up 4 nights a week, so I don't do a ton of open mics in the city or anything like that, just because I'm already getting these reps in regardless. So I try to spend that time during the week with my family when I'm not away, So, but yeah, 100% reps is super important. When I first signed with CAA, they were super adamant on like, look, you got to get these reps in. It's the only way you're going to get better, and it's true, and it's been really dope just trying to perfect this craft and do my thing up there.
Do you have a home club in New York?
I do not. There's a no. If there's anywhere that's probably my home club, probably Governors. It's a local club. I played there multiple times. But other than that, no. I don't have a home club.
Okay. And there's an interesting conversation happening right now in stand up because stand up has obviously experienced a real renaissance in the last
Right.
few years, partially in response to COVID. And I think that your popularity. Now, look, it wasn't like you were an overnight success. You worked your ass off for around a year before you really started to catch fire. And once you did, you made the most of that opportunity. But there's a conversation happening among stand up right now involving comedians who have been grinding for a long time and those who are newer on the scene and maybe able to bring a crowd to a club as a result of social media popularity too. Do you find yourself ostracized by some longtime stand-up comedians as a result of experiencing more of an immediate success versus having to work for a decade plus just to get to a point where you're headlining a place like Cap City Comedy Club?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I've dealt with it with clubs, with club owners, with comedians. Yeah, 100%. This is obviously super political. I look at it a little differently. Obviously, social media is a different muscle. I think where a lot of the frustration comes is these comedians just don't know how to be funny on social media. And
Yeah.
where the way I look at it is like, look, it's a different muscle. It's a different. If you could do it, you would do it, but you're not doing it. So don't hate on someone that is doing it. And I've been on social media grinding for 6 years, pushing, growing that following. And initially I started on TikTok, but I've been grinding every single day. I was a cop for 7 years. I would come home at 10:30 at night, go in my basement, wake up my wife. Let's make a video. People don't see that. They don't see my writing. They don't see that, my show getting picked up by ABC Signature. They don't see a lot of the back end stuff. They see what I put out and that's it. But the reality is like, you got to hustle in this business, period. And I think a lot of the comedians I've met who have been grinding for 10 years, you're hustling backwards. You think going to an open mic and performing in front of 20 people and crushing is going to do anything for you? Because it isn't. I have 1 million followers and it's still difficult to sell tickets in certain markets. You have to continually grow, figure out new marketing strategies, figure out how to promote yourself. You know, People want to, you have to have a core fan base that loves you, that wants to take their time to pay for tickets to come and hear your story. And I think that's where a lot of guys got it wrong. It's not 1990 anymore. You're not going to have CAA and WME and UTA coming to your set in the middle of nowhere to come see if you're funny. It's just not going to happen. So I get the frustration from comedians, but I don't respect it. And it's cool, man. Look, at the end of the day, you got to do what you believe in and follow your gut. And so I don't take it personal. But yeah, I think the tide is changing for sure. Stand up is totally different. The internet has changed everything. And you can do it all on your own now. You don't need someone else. If you have the skill, if you have the creativity, you can do it yourself. And a lot of these guys can't. And teach their own. But it is what it is, man.
Well, the reality for you also in particular is that you are really good at what you do. So you make it look easier than it actually is. But to your point, people don't see you when the cameras aren't on writing or thinking about lighting or thinking about the general setup or going or doing take after take after take, whether it's you or you and your wife or whoever else is involved in that video. There is a major grind that comes into play. And as soon as you start experiencing that success, it's almost like you have to work harder, where a lot of people, they'll start resting on their laurels at that point in time. And look, failure can be a beast when it comes to trying to succeed, but success is can be a burden to succeeding too, just because it does breed a sort of complacency.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I think I say this all the time. I'm like, look, I'm just getting started. This is the beginning. I think a lot of times people look at it, they're like, you made it, man. It's like, I did not. I know that this shit could disappear tomorrow, at the end of the day. And you're only going to get as much as you put into it. And I put my all into it. And as long as I continue to do that, I'll be comfortable with whatever the outcome is because I know I'm putting in my all, I'm putting in the work, and I'm figuring it out.
Comics struggle to find their voice, their real voice, their stage voice. Is that something that you feel like you found in the 2 years that you've been getting up on stage?
Yeah, I did. It's almost like I found it instantly, because I'm really just going up there and telling my life story. I'm a storyteller, so I
Yeah.
tell my life, from beginning to end, and it's great for me because, I think a lot of times people will go viral or get notoriety playing a character, right, or playing someone that's unlike themselves. But I'm not like that. I'm really just what you see is what you get with me. Obviously you don't see a lot of the back end, the business stuff and things like that. But the reality is what you see is what you get. And when I'm on stage, I feel comfortable because I'm telling my story, whether it's relatable to you or not. Luckily, it has been relatable to a lot of people. But even if it's not, I'm up there, I'm telling my truth, and I feel good doing it.
Yeah, I talked to Ali Sadiq a little bit earlier in the week. He's another world class storyteller. What do you think the key is to a good story, Kev?
Oh man, brother. I'd say like building out the context, right? Just making sure there's a beginning, a middle, and end. You're really telling something. I think a lot of times stories can get jumbled, especially when you have, 500, 600 people staring at you. I think it's important to just make sure you have a clear, concise story and you're saying something that's real that you feel. Because at the end of the day, we're all human beings and we all relate to each other in one way or another. So as long as you're being real for yourself, I feel like people will embrace that and they will feel that.
What's the biggest crowd that you performed for?
15,000 people at UBS.
Was that opening for Joe Coy?
That was opening for Joe. My own shows, 2,000 was the most, but yeah, the 15,000 was insane. It was a crazy, it's just a sea of people, very different feeling.
What was the learning experience that you took from that moment?
That I could do it, man. That I could do this. That I can, I could maybe one day, be lucky enough to perform in an arena like that to my crowd. I went up there, and I think initially I'm my biggest critic. I know a lot of people say that, but I am the worst. And it really just showed me, like, look, you could do this, man. Like, this isn't just a dream anymore. It's here, and you got to make it happen.
What's the smallest number of people that you've ever performed for at a club?
What is it, 40? Yeah, maybe 40.
That's a pretty big number for a smallest crowd.
Yeah, 40. And it was cool, to be honest. It was very intimate. Very intimate.
His career in comedy is not like a normal comic if you're not picking up on this.
Yeah, my opener just said his career in comedy is not like others if you're not figured that out yet.
Who's your opener?
Mr. Nick Alex, the man right here.
What's up,
This is
Nick?
my guy.
How you doing, my man?
He's absolutely hilarious, and he has a good heart, man. And he accepted me. He's one of the guys who's been grinding for 10 years. He's pretty big on social media too, at Nick Alex Comedy, and he's hysterical. But what really drew him to me to him was just how authentic he was and how honest he was when I got off stage, and he was like, bro, that's crazy. Like, you crushed it up there. You haven't been doing it. And I haven't heard that. Most of the time you can just get a bunch of haters who are just like, yeah, what you do really is in comedy. You just go up there and talk shit, and it's like, oh, okay, bro, whatever you see. So we obviously like instantly gravitated towards each other. And now I just bring him everywhere because he's the man.
Well, look, the stage is the great equalizer. Comedy club crowds are the great equalizer because I've sat and watched Dave Chappelle working out material, and he's not getting laughs that he ultimately does get when he tapes that special months down the road. But if you go up there, whether or not you gain notoriety or popularity through whatever other medium, and you're not funny as a stand-up comedian or you're not good as a storyteller, the crowd's going to let you know with their silence. And so clearly, based on the response that I've read and heard from other people who have actually seen you do this, you definitely do have a handle on the stand-up side of things. But that's also not your end goal either, which I find fascinating. And maybe it's not that surprising because you are so good in the social media capacity as far as filmmaking and storytelling goes. But your goals include producing, directing, and maybe even acting, and whether it's a TV show or film. But you've got much bigger goals on the horizon, it sounds like.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. I've been grateful enough to have a really dope team at CAA with my agents and my manager, who I love to death, man. He really does understand me. We're very similar in just nature. And yeah, I have my end goals are much bigger. I'm just gonna keep working, man, and not take any of this for granted. I think a lot of times things come really quickly and you start to take things for granted. So I'm really just trying to keep myself grounded, keep good people around me, and just keep a positive head, positive energy, stay creative, and keep working, and hope that other people see what I see in myself.
So a lot of your comedy online, and I'm assuming at least a little bit on stage, is rooted in family life. So you have a wife and two kids, is that right?
Yeah, I'm married, and I have two boys. They're 7 and 6, KJ, Kevin Jr. and Caden. Yeah, man, it's beautiful, beautiful thing though. They saved my life.
Oh, you're in the thick of it right now. I've got a 10 and 8-year-old at home, and it's great to see them growing up and turning into these wonderful, hopefully respectful little humans. But at the same time, boy, they have adult opinions about things sometimes,
Yeah,
don't they?
yeah. No, things are changing quickly, man. It went from cute baby voices to me getting screamed at for Robux. So it's been a crazy transition.
Yeah. So what do you think the biggest challenge is for parents in 2024, Kev?
Oh, just I would say trying not to make the same mistakes your parents made. I feel like we're all trying to be better in one way or another. We all try our best. My mother tried her those same mistakes and do better than the last generation, and that's all we can really ask for. Other than that, these kids are gonna find something to fucking complain about anyway.
What do you think you're good at as a parent?
Really just showing affection, showing love. Just making sure they understand, like, I love you, man. I love you, and I'm your father, and you can count on me for anything. Just making sure I'm always emotionally available. I think that's the most important piece.
Yeah, because what is your age, by the way? You're in your mid-30s, is that right?
Yeah, yeah, I'm 34 years old.
34. Okay, I'm about a decade older than you. I grew up in the 1980s, and look, every family is different. My dad, especially, was not showering me with affection, telling me that he loves me or giving me hugs or anything. It was kind of like figure it out for yourself. And oh, by the way, here's an overcooked piece of meat and vegetables out of a can too.
Yeah, it's great. No, I was the same way, man. I think I think our parents, they were different. They did things differently. And so for me, it's I didn't grow up with my father, so very similar in the sense of I didn't really know how to be a father. I'd never been really surrounded by any outside of my uncles and my stepfather, of course, which we never really had a good relationship. But being a father was really dope. It was very scary at first, but now it's been amazing. And them seeing this grind that I'm on and respecting it and appreciating it. It's been amazing.
You just mentioned your uncles. Is there any one person who was the most important male role model for you when you were a kid?
Yeah, I'd probably say my uncles, man. Especially my uncle Victor. He was pretty much the only entrepreneur in my family. He owned a bunch of bagel stores, and I wasn't really surrounded by entrepreneurs. People really took risks. The idea was, especially in New York, it's like, listen, get a job, take a test, get a pension, build your family, build your home, and die. Which and I always felt like something was missing, and it wasn't until I started this process and found what was destined for me that I realized, like, okay, like sometimes in life you got to take risk, and I just I wasn't used to that. I didn't have that around me. So my uncle Victor was definitely a huge inspiration for me growing up.
Why are New York bagels better than anywhere else?
It's the water, baby. It's the water.
That's the right answer there. All right, so I don't want to make any assumptions, but you're a New York guy. You strike me as a sports fan. This is being heard on ESPN Austin right now. You a big sports fan, Kev?
Yeah, mostly basketball and baseball, not football. Basketball. I'm a huge Yankee fan, huge Knicks fan. So, and I love boxing. Boxing is probably my favorite sport right now. I'm looking forward to the Berlanga Canelo fight coming up.
Who's your favorite all-time boxer?
Mike Tyson, but behind him, definitely Canelo Alvarez, Miguel Cotto. Those are probably my top three. I just very fun to watch. Canelo's very humble. Now he's a lot louder now that he speaks English, but I love him.
Yeah. So, what do you think about Tyson Jake Paul? That's was obviously supposed to happen last month. Now it's a couple of months away. I'm a little bit worried because I'm a big Tyson fan too. I don't want to see a Tyson embarrassed in the ring, and that's always a possibility. I mean, Jake Paul needs to be taken a little bit more seriously as a fighter, and Mike Tyson's in his 50s now.
Yeah, no, look, that's tough, man. I'm honestly, I hate that fight is happening. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie, I hate it.
exactly.
I think it's off brand. I think Tyson's a legend. I don't see. I'll be outside of a bag and a money grab. Yeah, I don't see why he would do this. But look, to each their own, man. If he's looking to have some fun, go have some fun. I'm still putting all my money on Tyson.
Okay, that's good to hear. See, because I've got the unfortunate memory of watching Roy Jones really go down an unfortunate path, and it started for him showing that he could go up to heavyweight to beat John Ruiz and then drop back down in weight. There's something was amiss after that, and you saw him get embarrassed more than once in the ring as a result. I don't want to see Mike Tyson suffer that same fate, and I realize that's maybe a little bit ironic me bringing Roy Jones up because he and Tyson had that
Yeah,
strange bout a couple of years ago too.
yes. Yeah, and that one was cool because it was two legends. You could tell Tyson was in there trying to have fun. You could tell he was kind of holding back a lot of those shots, and he was trying. He was just in there. Look, I'm with another legend, and we're having fun up here, and that was cool. I didn't mind that, but the Jake Paul thing is just driving me nuts.
You don't like Jake Paul at all?
No, I think he's great, man. I think him and his brother are geniuses, man, and what they've done. And he's obviously a very talented boxer. I just hate the fact that Tyson's getting in the ring with him.
Yeah. So as far as people who may be considering going to see you at Cap City Comedy Club this weekend, is there a general theme that you're operating on or a set of circumstances that you're really having fun with on stage right now?
Nah, not necessarily, man. I just, come ready to party, man, ready to have fun, have a good time. We got my openers are with me, Lee, Nick. We just want we come have a good time. Let's get, let's get some drinks in us and enjoy the weekend.
Anything else you want to do while you're in Austin?
Nah, not really. I'm kind of a homebody. I think my opener is definitely the opposite.
I'm trying to go to that Egyptian fusion barbecue spot.
He wants to go to the Egyptian fusion barbecue spot, so I guess that's probably our first stop.
KG Barbecue. I went there like 2 or 3 weeks ago. It exceeds the hype. You get a lot of good barbecue in the city. Very unique for Texas style barbecue with that Egyptian fusion. Highly recommend. I think y'all will walk away both full and very happy with that decision.
I love it, man. Looking forward to it.
If you know what Joe Rogan's address is, too.
Yeah, he said if you know where Joe Rogan lives, send us the address, too, because we'll make a stop there.
Yeah, well, I have an idea, but I guess we're going to have to stop there. I don't want to.
Dope, bro. Thank you so much, man. This is dope.
Kevin, been a real pleasure. People can check you out at KevHerreraComedy.com. Also on all sorts of social media. I think everything except for Twitter. Only Raising Kings NYC. And of course, you're going to be at Cap City Comedy Club tonight through Saturday. 1 show tonight, 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday. Go to CapCityComedy.com to snag those tickets. Real pleasure getting to know you, man. Thank you so much for the time. Hopefully this isn't the last time for you and me.
Yeah, likewise, man. Have a good day, my brother. I appreciate the opportunity.
You're still watching or listening on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or elsewhere. We greatly appreciate you subscribing if you have not already, and please do like today's episode. Thanks to Gentleman Jesus for the intro and outro music. Hear more of his work at gentlemanjesus.com. And thanks to you for hanging out. For more of the show and to connect on social media, visit booksonpod.com. Talk to you next time on Books on Pod.